Today we uncover the shocking truth about UK honey. You bought it because you thought you were making a healthy choice, cutting out sugar, trying to eat natural, doing right by your family. But what if I told you that 96% of supermarket honey just failed authenticity testing? That government labs found banned antibiotics in jars sitting on shelves right now, that there's 6 times more of one type of honey being sold than is actually produced worldwide. You thought you were buying honey. You thought the labels meant something. You thought words like pure and organic actually protected you. But the European Union tested UK honey samples in 2023 and 100% were flagged as suspicious. Every single one. The Honey Authenticity Network tested 25 supermarket honeys and 24 failed. Labs are detecting sugar markers in jars that don't exist anywhere in nature, sugars that can only come from industrial syrups. People are trying really hard to eat healthy, to make good choices, and they're being sold corn syrup with a picture of a bee on it. This isn't about one bad brand or one dodgy batch. This is systematic. This is happening across every price point, from the 69p budget jar to the £40 medicinal honey. Heritage British brands that have been in cupboards for over a century have been sold off and gutted. Premium brands with English-sounding names are importing bulk honey from countries they won't even disclose on the label. And the Food Standards Agency, the people who are supposed to protect you, they've known about this for years. Richmond Council flagged products as likely adulterated back in 2019. Testing in 2002 found banned antibiotics. And those products, still on shelves. Still being bought by families who think they're making the healthy choice. So we've gone through the major brands currently sold in UK supermarkets and we'll expose the 10 honey brands you need to avoid. Then I'll tell you the handful which are actually still worth buying. But before we get into it, I need your help. If this investigation shocks you, if it makes you angry, if it makes you check the label on your own honey jar, hit that hype button right now. Because when videos like this get hyped, when they get shared, when they reach enough people, that's when companies actually have to respond. That's when the Food Standards Agency has to pay attention. That's when change happens. You hyping this video isn't just supporting the channel, it's pushing back against the corporations that think they can sell you anything and get away with it. It's demanding transparency. It's demanding real food. So hit hype and let's force these companies to do better. And let's get into it. Number 10. Tesco Stockwell and Co. Clear Honey. Let's start with Britain's biggest supermarket, Tesco. Everyone shops at Tesco. Millions of families trust Tesco for their weekly shopping. And for years, people have been picking up Stockwell and Co. Clear Honey without a second thought. 69p for a 340-gram jar, although the price has probably crept up by now, as they always do. But in 2019, something happened that should have made national headlines. Richmond Council bought a jar of Tesco Stockwell and Co. Clear Honey and sent it to a lab. The results came back and, according to public records, the honey was found to be likely adulterated with non-natural products. Not possibly, not maybe. Likely adulterated. The Food Standards Agency opened an investigation. Tesco quietly withdrew the product from shelves, and then, a few months later, it came back. Same product, same vague labelling, same 69p price point. The label says produce of China, packed in UK. China is the country whose honey exports get flagged at the highest rates in EU testing. 74% of Chinese honey tested by the EU was marked as suspicious for adulteration. Labs can now detect something called psychose, a sugar marker that doesn't exist in real honey. It only appears when rice syrup or other industrial sweeteners have been added. When psychose shows up in testing, it's a direct indicator that what you're eating isn't pure honey, it's been cut with syrup. And Tesco's own honey, the one sitting in millions of British cupboards right now, was flagged by a local council as likely containing non-natural products. Customers compare the taste to golden syrup, to corn syrup. Some say it's so runny it slides off toast before you can spread it. Others mention a bitter aftertaste, something chemical. One person wrote that they tried to revive a tired bee with it, and the bee refused to go near it. But here's what makes this truly outrageous. After the 2019 investigation, after the withdrawal, after the findings, Tesco didn't reformulate, they didn't change suppliers, they didn't add transparency, they just put it back on shelves and carried on. Number 9. Littleover Apiaries Acacia Honey. Now, after hearing about Tesco, some of you might be thinking, okay, I'll just avoid the cheap own brand stuff. I'll buy something more premium instead. Something with a proper name, something that looks trustworthy. And that's exactly the trap thousands of shoppers have fallen into with Littleover Apiaries. You're standing in the aisle, you've just walked past the 69p Tesco honey. You see Littleover. The name sounds British. Littleover like a quaint village in the Cotswolds. The branding looks clean and premium. The label says acacia honey, a specific variety known for its delicate floral taste. And the price? Around £4 to £5 for a jar. You're paying more because you want better. You walk past the cheap stuff. You walk past Rowse. You pick up Littleover thinking, this is the real thing. You get home, you feel good about your choice. You spent more, but you're worth it. Your family is worth it. Then you turn the jar around. Blend of EU and non-EU honeys. Not British. Not local. Not even acacia from a single source. A blend. From countries they won't even name. The same vague, tell you nothing labeling you'd find on the budget brands you just walked past. And customers noticed something was wrong even before checking the label. Many opened the jar to find the honey already crystallized into a solid, cloudy mass. Now, honey crystallizes naturally, that's normal, but acacia is famous for staying liquid for years. Some jars stay runny indefinitely. It's one of the characteristics that makes acacia special. So when customers opened their Littleover acacia honey and found it already solid, they questioned what they'd bought. One customer described it as a horrid solid mass that looked nothing like the acacia honey they knew. Others described the taste. No aroma, no floral notes, no gentle acacia flavor, just intense one-dimensional sweetness. One person said there was no honey taste, no smell. Only the label says it's honey. This is the cruelest deception, because at least with 69p Tesco honey, you know you're buying the cheapest option on the shelf. You're not under any illusions, but Littleover, it actively tricks you into thinking you've made the smart choice. You feel virtuous for spending more, the English name, the premium positioning, the higher price, it all says quality. And then you flip it over and realize premium price doesn't mean premium honey. It means premium marketing. You paid £4 to £5 for the exact same lack of transparency, the exact same international blend, the exact same vague sourcing you could have gotten for 69p. The only difference? Better branding. This is why checking labels matters. This is why Littleover Apiaries means absolutely nothing if the honey inside is a blend from unnamed countries halfway around the world. Number 8. Rowse Squeezy Clear Honey. What about the honey brand that's been in British cupboards for 86 years? Rowse. If there's one honey brand your parents and grandparents had in the cupboard, it's this one. Founded in 1938 by Tony Rowse, a local Oxfordshire beekeeper with around 1,000 hives. For decades, Rowse meant British honey, local honey. But in 2006, Rowse was sold to Wellness Foods for £70 million. Then in 2014, sold again to Valio Foods. The local Oxfordshire beekeeping was gone. Rowse imports honey from 34 countries. 34. The label says, blend of non-EU honeys, no country names, no percentages, no transparency. This isn't local British honey from Oxfordshire hives. It's bulk import, shipped in industrial quantities, processed in UK facilities, and sold under a name that still trades on its 86-year-old British heritage. When you mix honey from multiple countries, you create something untraceable. If testing reveals issues, companies can claim it came from one of the other sources. It's a shield against accountability. The EU passed new regulations in 2024 requiring exact country percentages on labels. France, Germany, Spain have to tell consumers precisely where their honey comes from. Britain left the EU before those protections took effect. UK labels can still hide behind blend of EU and non-EU honeys. Rowse charges £2 to £3 for squeezy. Their Rowse British Wildflower costs £4.50 for a smaller jar. Why does the British one cost 3 times more per gram? Because real British honey from traceable sources costs real money. The cheap squeezy can only hit that price by importing bulk honey from the cheapest global sources. You're not buying the Rowse that Tony founded in 1938. You're buying what a multinational corporation owns in 2026. Number 7. Sainsbury's SO Organic Clear Honey. What about trusted supermarkets? Sainsbury's, a name synonymous with British quality since 1869. Their SO Organic range is marketed as premium, healthier, worth the extra money. Sainsbury's SO Organic Clear Honey costs £3.15, nearly 5 times what Tesco charges. That organic label makes you feel you're getting something pure, trustworthy, held to higher standards. But flip the jar over, blend of non-EU honeys, organic certified yet sourced from multiple unnamed countries. And remember that 2002 testing, the same testing that found banned antibiotics in Gale's, found them in Sainsbury's products too. 2 jars tested positive for both chloramphenicol and streptomycin. Both antibiotics. They never publicly addressed it, no explanation, no reassurance. The scandal passed. Now they've added an organic label to some products, charging a premium, counting on customers to assume organic means safe, traceable, pure. But organic certification doesn't tell you where the honey comes from. It doesn't tell you if it's a blend of 10 countries or 1. It doesn't tell you if it's been ultra-filtered to remove pollen, the only way to verify origin. For a blend of non-EU honeys, that's almost meaningless. You're paying £3.15 for honey, possibly from the same bulk suppliers as the 69 pence Tesco jar, just with an organic sticker. Number 6. Asda Classic Runny Honey. Not just Tesco and Sainsbury's, Asda too. The label says blend of Chinese and Vietnamese honey. At least they're naming countries. But on their website they claim it's fully traceable back to the beekeeper, fully traceable. How do you trace a blend from 2 countries back to individual beekeepers? Which beekeeper? Which hive? Which region? The claim doesn't make sense unless traceable just means we know it came from China and Vietnam somewhere. Customers notice changes. The label quietly dropped the word pure. When a company removes pure from a product, that tells you something. Several said the honey tasted different after the label change. Some described it dissolving in water instantly, like sweetener, not honey. Others said the flavor was weak, sugary. Vietnam and China are countries where honey production has been scrutinized for years. EU testing found 74% of Chinese honey flagged as suspicious. Vietnam has similar concerns. These aren't premium sources. These are cheap sources. Asda is selling honey blended from 2 countries with documented adulteration issues, claiming it's fully traceable while removing the word pure from the label. Number 5. Manuka honey from most supermarket brands. Now let's talk about the premium end of the market. Manuka honey. The medicinal grade honey from New Zealand. The one that's supposed to have antibacterial properties, help with wound healing, soothe sore throats. The one that costs £20 to £40 for a tiny jar. Surely, if you're paying that much, you're getting the real thing. Here's the problem. New Zealand produces approximately 1,700 tons of genuine Manuka honey each year. That's it, 1,700 tons. Total global production, yet over 10,000 tons of Manuka honey are sold worldwide every single year. That's 6 times more being sold than actually exists. The maths doesn't work. It can't work. Someone is selling fake Manuka, and they're selling a lot of it. The Food Standards Agency tested 23 Manuka honey products available in the UK. 11 of them, nearly half, showed no authentic Manuka pollen markers, no Manuka properties at all. These weren't cheap imitations. These were products sold in supermarkets and health shops with Manuka on the label and premium prices on the tags. Holland & Barrett, the health shop where people go specifically for supplements and natural products, has been flagged in discussions about Manuka authenticity. Customers have paid £40 to £60 for jars of Manuka honey from Holland & Barrett, only to later question whether what they bought was genuine. Some noticed it didn't behave like Manuka should. Some noticed the taste was off. Some just did the maths and realised that if New Zealand only produces 1,700 tonnes a year and Manuka is in every supermarket and health shop across the world, something doesn't add up. And here's what makes this particularly cruel. People buy Manuka for health reasons. They buy it when they're unwell, when they have a sore throat, when they're trying to support their immune system. They're not buying it as a treat. They're buying it as medicine. And they're paying medicinal prices for it. £20, £40 for a jar smaller than your fist. If what they're getting isn't genuine Manuka, if it's just regular honey with a Manuka label, they've been sold a lie at the moment they needed truth the most. The industry knows this is happening. The New Zealand government knows, the UK Food Standards Agency knows, and yet Manuka honey continues to flood the market at 6 times the rate of actual production. And customers continue to pay premium prices for something that testing shows is fake nearly half the time. Number 4. Gale's honey. Heritage betrayal runs deep. Let's talk about Gale's 105 years. That's how long Gale's has been on British shelves, since 1919. Your grandparents knew this brand. Their parents might have known it too. For over a century, Gale's represented British honey production. A name you could trust, a name with history. But in 2002, testing revealed something that shattered that trust. Public records show that jars of Gale's honey tested positive for chloramphenicol and streptomycin. Both of them. These aren't minor concerns. These are banned antibiotics. Chloramphenicol has been linked to aplastic anemia, a condition where your bone marrow stops producing enough blood cells. It's been associated with bone marrow damage and increased risk of leukemia. Streptomycin, the other antibiotic found, is banned in food production for similar reasons. The presence of both antibiotics in the same product suggests the honey came from sources where beekeepers were treating hives with drugs that are illegal in the UK and EU. This wasn't just Gale's. The same 2002 testing found antibiotics in Tesco and Sainsbury's honey too. But Gale's is particularly painful because this was a brand with 105 years of British heritage behind it. And yet somehow somewhere in their supply chain, banned antibiotics got into the jars. Gale's is now owned by Premier Foods, the massive corporation that also owns Mr. Kipling, Bisto and Oxo. The original 1919 family business is gone. What remains is a name, a label and a supply chain that once delivered banned antibiotics to British customers. And here's what's most frustrating. After the 2002 scandal, there was no massive recall announcement, no public accountability, no transparency about how it happened or what changed. The story got buried. Most people buying Gale's today have no idea that 22 years ago, labs found banned antibiotics in jars with that exact same label. Number 3. Morrisons M Organic Squeezy. And the organic deception continues. Morrisons, another major UK supermarket, another £3 plus price tag. Morrisons M Organic Squeezy costs £3.35. The label proudly displays the organic certification. It's in a convenient squeezy bottle. It looks modern, clean, trustworthy. Then you read the fine print. Blend of non-EU honeys. Again, the exact same vague labelling on budget products. Organic certified, sourced from unnamed countries. The organic label does the heavy lifting. It creates an assumption of quality, purity, higher standards. That assumption is worth an extra £2.50. But what are you getting? Organic certification about farming practices, not authenticity. A squeezy bottle. And the exact same blend of non-EU honeys from cheaper alternatives. There's a pattern. Sainsbury's SO Organic, Morrisons M Organic, both using the organic label to charge premium prices. Both sourcing from vague blends, both counting on customers to assume organic means better without checking where it comes from. And it works. Most people see organic and stop reading. They trust the certification. They pay extra and feel good. But when EU testing is flagging 46% of all honey imports as suspicious, and UK testing failed 100% of samples, that organic label isn't protecting you. Number 2. Aldi Everyday Essentials, Clear Honey. And now the discount chains. Aldi, the German supermarket that's taken Britain by storm with its low prices. Aldi Everyday Essentials Clear Honey costs 99 pence for 454 grams. That's 22 pence per 100 grams. Let's put that in perspective. Real British honey from traceable sources costs minimum £3.50 per kilogram at wholesale. That's 35 pence per 100 grams, and that's wholesale, before retail markup, before packaging, before profit. Aldi is selling at retail for 22 pence per 100 grams. Cheaper than wholesale cost for real honey. The maths is impossible. You can't produce, harvest, process, package, transport and retail genuine honey at that price. Rice syrup costs 40 to 60 pence per kilogram. Corn syrup is similar. If you blend cheap syrup with a bit of real honey, you can hit Aldi's price. But you can't call it honey. Except they do. The label says clear honey, and customers buy it trusting a major supermarket wouldn't sell something that isn't what it claims. But when the price is mathematically impossible for the product to be genuine, the label stops meaning anything. Number 1. Lidl own brand clear honey. Finally, Lidl, Aldi's German rival. The same impossible prices. Lidl's own brand costs about the same, under £1. The same mathematically impossible price point, the same blend of non-EU honeys labelling, they're selling the exact same product with a different label. Cheap honey that can't possibly be pure at that price. Bulk import from unnamed sources blended to hit the lowest price point. From 69 pence Tesco to £40 Manuka, from heritage British brands to organic premium lines, from unknown premium brands to discount chains, the problem is everywhere. Every price point. Every marketing claim. The labeling is vague, the sourcing is opaque, the testing fails, companies keep selling it because most people won't check. But you're not most people anymore. You know what to look for now. So, how do you find real honey? First, look for product of UK, not packed in UK. Packed in UK means it came from anywhere. Product of UK means it was produced here. Second, check for single origin labeling. If it says blend of EU and non-EU honeys, put it back. Real honey tells you exactly where it came from. Third, buy directly from beekeepers. The British Beekeepers Association has a beekeeper finder on their website. Search by postcode. Visit farmers' markets. Ask at farm shops. When you buy from someone who keeps bees, you know where your honey came from. First, local honeyman British golden honey. This is real British honey. Single origin, traceable, produced by beekeepers who care more about the bees than the profit margins. Local honeyman sources from British hives, extracts without ultra-filtering, keeps the pollen in, so you can verify origin. It costs more, but you're getting actual honey, not corn syrup with a bee on the label. The flavour is richer, more complex, with floral notes real honey should have. You're supporting British beekeeping, supporting people keeping real honey production alive. Second, Black Bee Honey British Summer Honey, another British producer, doing it right. Black Bee Honey is B Corp certified, meeting verified standards of social and environmental performance. Their British Summer Honey is single origin, unpasteurised, award-winning. This is honey that hasn't been blended with 10 countries' honey, hasn't been heated and filtered until beneficial enzymes are gone, hasn't been cut with syrup. It's thick, flavourful, crystallises naturally. You can trace it to British hives, British beekeepers. Third, Scottish bee company Heather Honey. Heather Honey has a strong, distinctive flavour. Scottish Bee Company produces it from Scottish heather. According to Ferroscience research, Heather honey contains 10 times more manganese than Manuka. You're getting more nutritional benefit from Scottish heather than from £40 Manuka that's probably questionable anyway. This is what happens when you buy from producers who care. Real honey, real health benefits, real traceable sources. Fourth, support your local beekeeper. This is the reality of honey in Britain today. The cheap stuff isn't honey. The organic stuff isn't necessarily better. The heritage brands sold out. The premium brands are often just premium marketing. The only way to get real honey is to pay real money to real beekeepers, still doing it properly. The supermarkets aren't protecting you. You have to protect yourself. By reading labels, by questioning prices, by supporting beekeepers producing real honey instead of corporations selling syrup. If this opened your eyes, If it made you angry, hit that hype button one more time. Share this with someone who needs to see it. Leave a comment telling me which food product you want investigated next. Because this isn't just happening with honey, this is happening across the entire food industry. Until next time, read your labels, question everything, and protect your plate.